It's your boy, Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. I haven't done a political ranting in quite a minute. As you can see, I've been very busy with life and whatnot, but whatever. Let me just say this, because, first off, my thoughts and prayers goes out to the victims of the two separate mass shootings that took place this past weekend in Texas and Ohio. You are in my prayers, and you have my support. But now, it's like this. I'm going to, talk about something right here. So, apparently, the same as it ever was, you got politicians who want to talk about, who now want to talk about that violent video games are linked to mass shootings. Last year, I've done a video talking about Laura Ingraham from Fox and Ben Shapiro, radio host Ben Shapiro, who basically thinks that mass shootings are tied to video game violence. And literally, I wholeheartedly disagree. Let me just say this right here. This type of stuff is nothing new. Pretty much since '93, politicians have been doing this ever since. Especially Democrat Joseph Lieberman and that rhino John McCain, who's been pushing all that ever since. The thing is this. Why do you think the ESRB was created in the first place? Even though back in the '90s when Mortal Kombat and Night Trap were the biggest thing in the video game world, considering both of those games were pretty violent. Yeah, that was literally it. But now, all of a sudden, let me just say this right here. I am a Trump supporter. Now, I am a Trump supporter who would, number one, criticize him for when I think he's done wrong, and number two, would be open to disagree with him on said topic. Now all of a sudden he wants to come out and say, he tries to blame video game violence on mass shootings. And I'm going to have to go on record and say that you really can't put that type of emphasis. You really can't blame video game violence for the mass shootings that's been going on. I'm sorry to say it, but I gotta disagree with you on that one, Mr. President. Because if you look at it, in the past there was violence. In the present, there is violence. In the future, there will be violence. Come to think about it, and violence has been going on ever since Cain killed his brother Abel. Okay? Which was literally right after when sin entered into this world. So you really cannot make that claim right there. It's been proven time and time again that violence and entertainment, have no effect on a person's psyche when it comes to mass shootings. I will say this right here. Now, I will say this right here. If it happens to if stuff like that happens to be into their inner psyche, then I'm afraid, yeah, some people are foolish. Okay, so, but the real the thing is this, I mean, every time when these mass shootings happen, that's when politicians usually politicians and the media would usually put their emphasis on video game violence. Now, I myself am a video game player. I've been playing video games since I was 5 or 6 years old. And come to find out, I've turned out to be a fine man. I mean, I've turned out to be okay. I don't do any criminal acts or what have you, and obviously, I never gotten to that point where I, let me just say that I've turned out okay, because, and my thing is this: you can't blame Mr. President. You can't blame violent violent media. I mean, it's it's just that simple. I mean, I'm Laura Ingraham and Ben Shapiro was talking about the same thing last year, and I completely disagree with them. On top of that, you see, let me just say this: a mass shooting, any killing of any crime, of any kind. You can't, you know, don't direct that to video games. Don't direct that to violent movies or what have you. Let's just say that it is the ill will of a particular individual. If they have that ill will mindset of going out and supposedly, murdering, you know, people, okay? But blaming it on something blaming it on fictitious stuff like video game. I mean, like video games. That's kind of that's kind of retarded. All right. I think let me let me say this, and I'm out. I mean, if you have, I mean, it's basically the ill will of an individual rather than some type of medium which are intended for entertainment purposes only. Yes, there are people out there that are foolish, but you can't really, decipher you can't really blame R-rated movies or mature rated video games for, or even, you know music that has tons of profanity and whatnot. This is, that's kind of, I'm gonna say this is kind of comparable to, you got you got these overly religious individuals who wanna think that listening to basically, if I were to listen to heavy metal music, I would condone in satanic activity. And but here's a fun fact: bands like You know, you got bands like Slayer. You know, some of those individuals there are devout Christians. What do you guys think on this? Because I think, because this is one thing I particularly disagree with the president upon. Like, I mean, despite the fact that I am a Trump supporter. I'm Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. I'm out.